Have you ever wondered if your ego is silently controlling your actions and thoughts? Imagine the freedom and peace that comes from recognizing and addressing these ego-driven behaviors. Today, we're going to explore 15 deadly signs that your ego is in control and how to avoid them. By understanding these signs, you can begin a path towards a more authentic and fulfilling life. Let's dive in. The ego is a complex part of our psyche that often drives our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without us even realizing it. It is that part of us that seeks approval, craves attention, and constantly compares ourselves to others. While the ego can sometimes help us navigate social situations and achieve our goals, it often gets in the way of our true happiness and personal growth. The ego can create a false sense of self that leads to unnecessary stress, anxiety, and conflict. Understanding the ego's role in our lives is the first step towards recognizing when it is in control and making conscious efforts to live more authentically. Sign 1. Constant need for approval. One of the clearest signs that your ego is in control is a constant need for approval from others. This can manifest in various ways, such as seeking compliments, needing validation for your choices, or feeling insecure without positive feedback. When the ego dominates, it creates a dependency on external validation to feel good about ourselves. This behavior can lead to a never-ending cycle of seeking approval, as the ego is never truly satisfied. Instead of relying on others to validate your worth, focus on cultivating self-acceptance and confidence from within. By appreciating your own value, you can break free from the ego's grip and find a more stable sense of self-worth. Sign 2. Fear of failure. The fear of failure is another sign that your ego is in control. The ego is terrified of failure because it sees it as a threat to its identity and self-esteem. This fear can prevent you from taking risks, pursuing your passions, or even trying new things. It can keep you stuck in your comfort zone where the ego feels safe. However, avoiding failure also means avoiding growth and learning opportunities. Embrace failure as a natural part of life and a stepping stone to success. By changing your perspective on failure, you can reduce the ego's control and open yourself up to new possibilities and experiences. Sign 3. Inability to accept criticism. Another telltale sign of ego dominance is the inability to accept criticism. When the ego is in control, any form of criticism is seen as a personal attack. This can lead to defensiveness, denial, and even resentment towards the person offering the feedback. The ego's need to protect itself can prevent you from learning and growing from constructive criticism. Instead of seeing feedback as a threat, view it as an opportunity to improve and grow. By adopting a growth mindset, you can diminish the ego's influence and become more open to learning from others. Sign 4. Always having to be right. The need to always be right is another sign that your ego is in control. The ego thrives on being correct and often sees admitting wrong as a weakness. This can lead to unnecessary arguments, strained relationships, and a lack of open-mindedness. When you feel the need to be right, it's often the ego seeking validation and superiority. Instead, practice humility and openness. Acknowledge that everyone makes mistakes and that it's okay to be wrong. By doing so, you can reduce the ego's hold and foster healthier, more respectful relationships. Sign 5. Comparing yourself to others. Comparing yourself to others is a common behavior driven by the ego. The ego measures self-worth by comparing achievements, appearances, and possessions with others. This constant comparison can lead to feelings of inadequacy, jealousy, and low self-esteem. Remember, everyone's journey is unique, and comparison only distracts you from your own path. Focus on your progress and celebrate your accomplishments, no matter how small. By letting go of comparisons, you can diminish the ego's influence and find greater contentment and self-acceptance. Sign 6. Holding grudges. Holding grudges is another sign that your ego is in control. The ego thrives on holding on to past wrongs and perceived injustices. This behavior can lead to resentment, bitterness, and a lack of forgiveness. Holding on to grudges keeps you stuck in the past and prevents you from moving forward. It also drains your emotional energy and affects your mental well-being. Practice forgiveness and let go of grudges. By releasing these negative emotions, you can free yourself from the ego's grip and create space for positive experiences and relationships. Sign 7. Refusing to apologize. The ego often makes it difficult to apologize and admit mistakes. When the ego is in control, it sees apologizing as a sign of weakness or failure. This can lead to strained relationships and unresolved conflicts. Refusing to apologize can also prevent personal growth and self-improvement. Apologizing is a sign of strength and maturity. It shows that you are willing to take responsibility for your actions and make amends. By practicing humility and being willing to apologize, you can reduce the ego's control and build stronger, healthier relationships. Sign 8. Excessive pride. Excessive pride is another indication that your ego is in control. The ego often attaches itself to achievements, status, and possessions as a way to feel superior and validated. This excessive pride can create a sense of separation and disconnect from others. It can also lead to arrogance and a lack of empathy. Practice humility and recognize that your worth is not determined by external factors. By letting go of excessive pride, you can foster more meaningful connections and a greater sense of inner peace. Sign 9. Jealousy and envy. Jealousy and envy are strong indicators of ego dominance. The ego constantly compares itself to others and feels threatened by their success or happiness. This can lead to feelings of jealousy and envy, which can harm your relationships and well-being. Instead of focusing on what others have, practice gratitude for what you have. Celebrate others' successes and use them as inspiration for your own growth. By shifting your focus from envy to gratitude, you can reduce the ego's influence and cultivate a more positive and supportive mindset. Sign 10. Defensiveness. Defensiveness is a common behavior driven by the ego. When the ego feels threatened, it often reacts with defensiveness to protect itself. This can prevent open and honest communication and lead to misunderstandings and conflicts. Practice active listening and open-mindedness. Instead of reacting defensively, take a moment to understand the other person's perspective. By reducing defensiveness, you can improve your communication skills and build stronger, more trusting relationships. Sign 11. Lack of empathy. A lack of empathy is another sign that your ego is in control. The ego often focuses on its own needs and desires, leading to a lack of understanding and compassion for others. This can create distance and conflict in relationships. Practice empathy by putting yourself in others' shoes and trying to understand their feelings and experiences. By cultivating empathy, you can reduce the ego's influence and create deeper, more meaningful connections with others. Sign 12. Seeking attention. Seeking constant attention and admiration is a clear sign of ego dominance. The ego craves recognition and approval from others to feel validated and important. This behavior can lead to a lack of authenticity and a constant need for external validation. Instead of seeking attention, focus on being true to yourself and your values. By cultivating self-acceptance and confidence, you can reduce the ego's need for attention and find a more stable sense of self-worth. Sign 13. Avoiding responsibility. Avoiding responsibility is another behavior driven by the ego. The ego often tries to dodge accountability for its actions to protect itself from blame or criticism. This can prevent personal growth and damage relationships. Take responsibility for your actions and learn from your mistakes. By embracing accountability, you can reduce the ego's influence and foster a sense of integrity and self-respect. Sign 14. Overthinking and anxiety. Overthinking and anxiety are strong indicators of ego dominance. The ego often creates unnecessary worry and stress by overanalyzing situations and imagining worst-case scenarios. This can lead to a constant state of anxiety and mental exhaustion. Practice mindfulness and focus on the present moment. By calming the mind and reducing overthinking, you can diminish the ego's control and find greater peace and clarity. Sign 15. Living in the past or future. Living in the past or future is another sign that your ego is in control. The ego often dwells on past regrets or worries about future uncertainties, preventing you from fully experiencing the present moment. This can lead to feelings of dissatisfaction and disconnection. Practice mindfulness and be present in the moment. By letting go of past and future concerns, you can reduce the ego's influence and find a greater sense of contentment and fulfillment. Recognizing these 15 signs that your ego is controlling you is the first step towards freeing yourself from its grip. By understanding these behaviors and making conscious efforts to change, you can live a more authentic and fulfilling life. Remember, the ego is just one part of you, and it doesn't define who you are. Embrace your true self and let go of ego-driven behaviors. Start your journey towards a more peaceful and empowered life today. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content on personal and spiritual growth. Let us know in the comments which signs resonated with you the most and how you plan to overcome them. Together, we can support each other in living our best lives.